Imagine for a second, as a real estate professional, that you're going on a listing appointment. In fact, you just hung up the phone. You got the call that $1 million listing that you've been pursuing, that you've been prospecting, that you've been calling over and over and over, just called you back and said, hey, guess what? We're interviewing agents this weekend. We want you to come by and interview for the job of selling our home. What do? Well, first thing you do is you hang up the phone, you high five your office mate and say, heck yeah, I'm going on a listing appointment at 123 Sesame Street, and I'm going to list that bad boy for $1.1 million. The excitement subsides, the reality sets in. What's next? How do you prepare? I'll tell you this going into it, the odds are already stacked against you. Here's why. Most sellers already have a biased opinion based on one of three things in regard to the listing agent that they're going to hire. They're asking themselves three questions prior to the interview process. 1, do I know this person? 2, do I think I know this person? Or 3, were they referred to me? Now, there's 3 more questions they're going to ask themselves once you're sitting in front of them. We'll get to those in a second, but let's go back to these 3 items. 1, do I know this agent? 2, do I think I know this agent? Or 3, were they referred to me? Well, number 1 is, do I know this agent? Obviously, friend, family member, somebody you know from maybe Little League, PTA, school, whatever the case may be. Clearly, you know that person. They know you, you know them. 2, the sellers that think they know an agent. How does this happen? Billboards, shopping carts, mailers, bus benches. Your face or your competitors' faces are plastered all over the local community. So when that local competitor, assuming it's not you that does that extensive and expensive branding, but when you walk into your listing appointment, chances are your competitor, who the seller may think they already know because of their amazing branding, already has a leg up on you because your seller thinks they already know them. They already have an association, a connection, a bond with them based on their branding. Well, maybe you haven't thrown tens of thousands of dollars at local marketing, so you're already at a little bit of a disadvantage. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how to stack those odds so you walk out of there with the listing. But let's look at the third one. Somebody they were referred to. Referrals are very, very difficult to overcome, presuming you were not the agent that was referred. If you're just interviewing based on your intensive prospecting efforts, or you just got that long shot chance, you are walking into this listing appointment stacked up against 1, the person that maybe the seller knows, 2, maybe the person the seller thinks they already know from extensive branding, or 3, the referral. So we're the underdog in this. You're the underdog in this. Don't worry. I'm going to show you how to come out on top. But first, let's look at how you prepare for your listing presentation. How do you prepare for your listing appointments? Run through your mental checklist in your mind. What do you do? Well, maybe you're going to research the property. Duh, obviously we need to research the property. We need to get some particulars about the property. We need to get a property profile. We need to know who's on title. We need to know the bedrooms, the baths, square footage, so on and so forth. We take this information, we use this information to create a comparative market analysis. Obviously, we hop on the multiple listing service, we pull up the comparables in the area, but make sure you get your actives, pendings, and your solds all compiled together, put them into your listing presentation. Maybe you have some marketing material, maybe you have some brokerage material, maybe you have a flip book in regard to what you're going to do, some social media type items, and boom, that's it. There's your listing presentation. Guess what? That's the listing presentation of every single other agent on planet Earth that's going to go into that listing appointment and compete against you. What makes you different? How do you wow the seller? How do you deliver world-class service that blows their hair back and honestly makes it that there is no other choice besides selecting you as their real estate professional? Well, first things first, you're going to do all the standard preparatory work that we just discussed. The CMA, the property profile, the marketing materials, flip book, all that information. Put that together, have your standard presentation. But now we're going to take it a step further. I want you to create your unique value proposition, a value proposition that makes you unequivocally, without a doubt, the choice they need to select. Why? Because you're the modern, cutting edge, professional, in the know agent who is going to get their property sold get it sold quickly, and get it sold for top dollar. Here's how we're going to do it. I want you to hop onto artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, Grok 3, Claude, Gemini, any of the platforms that you're comfortable and familiar with. If you're not comfortable and familiar with AI yet, get comfortable. I have a bunch of trainings, a link down below on how to use AI in your real estate business. But jump on any one of those platforms and go ahead and put in the property address. I'm going to use ChatGPT as an example. I want you to say, ChatGPT, please create me my ideal customer avatar, ICA. Create the ideal customer avatar of who would buy the property at 123 Sesame Street. I want to know where they work. I want to know how much money they earn. I want to know potential family size. I want to know their interest in their hobbies and where they hang out when they're not at home. I also want to know how far potentially their workplace is from this residence. What's going to happen next is ultimately going to blow your mind. AI is going to create your ideal customer avatar. It's going to be the person most likely to buy the property. It's going to let you know how much income they make, where they currently live, where they currently work, their hobbies, their interests. It's going to give you all the information that you put into the prompt and asked for to begin with. Now you're going to take this information and you're going to put it in your back pocket. What I mean, literally, metaphorically, physically, maybe it's in your back pocket, but you're going to hang on to this for your listing appointment. So you're going to show up to your listing appointment like every other agent does. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. It's very nice to meet you. Sounds great. Can we take a tour of the property? Hey, why are you moving? Where are you relocating to? What's your timeline? What's your highest and best offer that you would like to see on this property? What's the lowest offer that you would be willing to entertain in regard to this property? All the usual conversation and scripting conversations that go along with the typical listing presentation. Once all the formalities are done, once all the niceties are done, inevitably the question, the decision time is going to come up of, why should we hire you for the job of selling our home? Keep in mind, they're asking themselves 3 questions prior to even asking you this question. First question they're thinking is, do I like this person? Well, whether they like you or not, that's 100% on you. Hopefully they do. We're going to presume that they do. The second thing that they're asking themselves is, do I trust this person? Do I trust this person? Again, that's a skill set that only you can deliver. And if they trust you and you've got through the question of, do I like this person and do I trust this person? Here's the third and most important question that they're going to ask themselves. Do I believe that this person has the skill set and the ability to get my home sold and help me through what is proving to be and will be one of the most difficult financial decisions of my life? Will they maximize top dollar on my investment? How do you answer the bell on that one? How do you respond? At this point, fellow agent, this is where all the marketing materials go out the window. This is where all the CMAs go out the window. This is where all the preparation, everything absolutely goes out the window, and it boils down to you establishing the trust, the conveyance of trust, and the ability to be different than every other agent that come before you. You're going to look them in the eye and you're going to say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm confident that I can get your home sold in a quick timeline and maximize your investment in getting you top dollar that the markets will support. The reason I'm so confident I can get your property sold in a quick time fashion at top dollar, I know who's going to buy your home. I have an ideal customer avatar of who's ultimately going to be the individual, the profile, the type of person that's going to buy your home. I know that they make X amount of dollars. I know that their professional industry is potentially X, Y, and Z. I know that they're currently living in this, that, and the other area. I know when they are not working or they're not at home, they're spending their time doing A, B, and C. You're reiterating everything that your customer avatar was identified as being. I'll give you an example. Let's say we're selling a $1.5 million home here in Southern California, located in North Orange County. I can sit with my client and say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I know that your ideal customer avatar, the person who's going to ultimately buy your home, earns between $300,000 and $400,000. They may or may not be married, but presumably they are. And they have probably 2 to 3 kids. Their kids are involved in soccer, ballet, and possibly equestrian or other affluent type activities. I know when they're not with the children and they're not at home, they enjoy fine dining, fitness, and outdoor activity. Based on what I know about this ideal customer avatar, I'm now able to take my marketing, which I've showed you before how exceptional it is, my professional photos, my social media marketing, but I'm not only going to blast it to all the universe and hope that I get a buyer. I'm actually going to meet your buyers where they're at by geo-targeting my advertising specifically to the areas, the locations, the facilities, and the places that your ideal buyer hangs out at. So to summarize, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I not only market your property extensively, I already know who's going to buy it. And based on that, I'm able to target my marketing directly to them, thereby cutting down the time frame and enabling top dollar that the market will support for your property. Inevitably, they're going to ask you, well, how do you know this? Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you are familiar with artificial intelligence, correct? Well, one of two things is going to happen. They're either going to say yes and pretend that they have. Maybe they haven't, but they know that they probably should. Or they're going to say, no, tell me more. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, by using artificial intelligence, I'm able to use the large language model and the extensive database to create a profile based on the thousands of sales that are recently conducted in this particular area to narrow down to identify that ideal customer avatar. And then a whole bunch of secret sauce that's proprietary to me, I'm able to identify who that ideal customer avatar is, ultimately marketing to them, thereby getting you top dollar in the time frame specified in our initial conversations. And do want to get your home sold for top dollar in a fast period of time. Is that correct? Fantastic. All we need to do now is go ahead and execute the listing agreement so I can put myself and my team to work in getting your property sold. Sound good? So with that said, team, that was just a little demonstration of how you can present and create a unique value proposition well above what anybody else is going to do. And you can also see that if they had the top producer in the area, or if they had the person that was all over the shopping carts in the area, or if they had the referral there, or they had the friend of the family that was there, chances are they're not going to hear that conversation that you just established in regard to artificial intelligence, identifying the ideal customer avatar, and ultimately targeting your marketing specifically to that ideal customer avatar or who's going to buy the property. It sets you apart head and shoulders above anybody else who comes to the property. I guarantee you, if 10 times you go to listing appointments and you use this approach that's polished and refined to your own personality and your own style, you're walking away with a signed listing agreement at least 80% of the time. With that said, there's some additional homework that you should probably be doing anyway, but I'm going to add this onto the tail end of this video, is you should definitely know the market area. Scrub the MLS, know the days on market, know, is the area trending upward, is it trending downward? This is identified in the pending properties, how long they've been on market prior to going into escrow. Again, that's a whole other training, but long story short, know the market trends and what's going on. And third and final, make sure you know your scripts and dialogues. You should be role playing every single day. You should know what to say, when to say, who to say it, and how to say it. And the only way that happens is through repetition, through practice, and doing your scripts and role play every single day. Prepare your listing or presentation. Script your listing presentations. Be prepared to show up with your listing presentations and ultimately integrate this artificial intelligence and ideal customer avatar conversation into your presentation. With that said, team, before you click off this video, look in the resources below. There's a treasure trove of information down below to ultimately help you grow your business and not only survive this next year, but ultimately thrive in your real estate business. Look, team, the real estate business is a tough business, but I believe in you. I want you to believe in you. So use the tools, resources, and get after it. Talk soon.